And our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning to everybody, everybody's here at the meeting, and also those that are listening in. First order of business is take care of, improve our minutes on Monday, October the 4th.
I'll make the motion.
Tim has moved to approve.
Second.
Jesse is second. Any discussion on the minutes at all? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. We don't have anything under our consent agenda this morning. Our miscellaneous motions. There are 3 of them tied to our health department. One of them is the development of a new job description that we just got a copy of Friday. Another one is a reorganizational chart for the health department because of a couple changes taking place here in the last 2 or 3 months. And then the third one is tied to filling a position that has been put together by our health department, Lindsay Fair. And I talked to Wade Billy, our county attorney, last night. He was still sitting at an airport there about 10 o'clock, so I don't know what time he got home. Unable to get a hold of him this morning. And our discussion last night, he wanted some opportunity to look at this and review it. And since he's not here first thing this morning, I'd like to table this until we get a little bit further into the meeting and when Wade's available. If nobody's got any.
What are we tabling? Everything?
All three motions, since they're all tied together, I think we need to probably handle it as one piece of information, even though there's 3 different motions. And Wade agreed that, he'd like to have an opportunity to look at it. And as of last night at 10, he hasn't had an opportunity to look at it.
Vice Chair, I move that we table this, whatever you want to call it, job description.
Job description of table organization, new hire.
A new hire.
Okay, we got to cut that down, Angie.
All
Jesse
second.
moved. Tim is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Our 9:05 time frame, zoning administrator Heidi Harris going to visit with us about zoning regulation updates. Heidi, would you please come forward and is the mic turned on?
It's green.
Okay. It's green. Okay. I think all of us had a copy of zoning regulation updates. I didn't. I got a copy Friday and looked at it for some time, and as you can tell, everything that's in red, if I remember right, is what's crossed out. Everything in blue is all the new updates, and there are 30, 40 pages of new updates, which is hopefully some of it, much of it is probably just technicalities for law and stuff like that. So Heidi, I'll just turn it over to you, and we may possibly get to where Wade needs to be a part of this discussion on part of it, and so far we've been unable to catch up with Wade here today. So we may have to delay some of the presentation and some of the discussion until later on the day. Heidi?
So on September 22nd, 2021, your Coffee County Planning Board went ahead and made a motion to recommend to the governing body the following changes under the zoning regulations tab. That's before all that green sheets you see in the back, which are the prior meetings they had on. A lot of it, like Don said, a lot of it is just grammatical errors, fixing capitalization there, fixing punctuation, or it should have been a there and it should be, the wrong there was there. There are some updates. How do you want me to proceed with the ones that were more, that we had more changes to? Do you want me to discuss all those with you guys, or how do you want to do that?
You know, that's a question I don't have a good answer for. You know, if you discuss everything here, we'd be here in 3 or 4 hours. And I think we probably need to be brought up to the major updates.
Okay.
And just titled to the majors, so hopefully the minor updates aren't an issue for us down the road.
Yeah, I just.
Because there's page after page, you know,
I can make
of
it brief.
new,
I can make it brief with
documents.
those changes. I can skip over the pages that were just the grammatical ones we had just talked about, if you'd like to do that.
you might announce the page that you're referring to, page number, so we can all be on the same page.
So on page B, little b, what we're doing in the index is we're adding our policy statement for wireless communications and also our policy statement for our rock quarries. That's what a lot of the document is in the back. A lot of that blue is those 2 documents there. On page 1-2, we are updating the City of Burlington's legal description that's in our booklet here.
I thought that had, everything there was tied to Burlington
Yes.
City.
Yes. 2-4, we're updating the agricultural definition with that verbiage that's in there.
You know, a lot of that there under agriculture is hunting preserves is mentioned there. Hunting preserves is mentioned throughout this document, several different places. And I don't have a full understanding of technically maybe what's allowed, and what isn't allowed. That may be an area we need to have Wade involved in.
Do that. On page 2-6, we're adding a camping equipment definition, and then we're updating our current campground definition with that verbiage there as you see. On page 211, I would say you probably maybe want to wait on Wade to talk about that definition. He provided that for the
We
board.
get back into the hunting preserve.
Yes, that would be a definition he provided, so that was that one. Skip all the way to 4-1.
4-1.
It's 4-1 at the bottom. It starts out with zoning districts at the top.
I got 4-3.
4-1.
4-1.
Here's a different.
4-4. That's all right.
So here's another book, because I picked up on it today. 4-1's in this one.
I found it.
Okay, 4-1's in this
Thank
one.
you.
4-1, we are updating the special use for campgrounds there. We're adding cabins, those cabins there, and just replacing vehicles with equipment. Page 4-3, number 11, that would be help from Wade that brought that in. That's the hunting preserves special use there. skip all over to page 11-6.
That's good.
Patty, is 7-1 all new? All right. Okay. Thank you.
7-1 is not being updated. That was discussed in a prior meeting by the board.
Right.
So on 11-6, with help from Wade, they're updating factor number 17 to that following verbiage there.
That's one that the zoning board has a hard time.
Yes, that factor number 17 is hard for the board to answer.
Yes, it's
So-
very, very complicated to answer, and I've sat through that many times of this definition and trying to find pros and cons and so on and so forth. It quite lengthy of discussion at times.
And they feel very comfortable with
Yes.
the one we have in there, that they can be able to answer it. We have a special use case.
Is there any way to simplify it where it's more understandable and easier to administer?
Unfortunately, no. That's linked to a judicial court's decision on the 17 factors, so we have to have that
So
one
it's a
in.
statute issue.
I don't know if it's in this, I can't remember if it's in the statutes or not, but a judge made it a rule though for these type of cases, so. And then the rest of it is just gonna be changing names and dates in the back of the book, and then adding those 2 sections we talked about earlier. That would be the rest of the booklet there. That's.
I just want to make sure the board feels comfortable with the changes, you know, and especially the hunting preserve side. I think, I hope Wade's here this afternoon. I'd like to just maybe hold on to this to maybe until roundtable or something, and we can visit with Wade. To get, I just want to make, I'm comfortable with the changes that have been made, but I want to make sure the rest of the board is comfortable with it. So, and Wade's clarification and expertise on numerous paragraphs in this change would help the fellow board members understand it, I think, a little better.
So right now that takes care of all the changes in this document, all these back pages are just totally
The back pages. are the-
summation of everything.
There are the prior meetings they had, so as we went forward, we had a couple of meetings.
I know every one of them has a
Changed it,
specific meeting date
Yes,
they're tied to, so there's nothing in this back that we need to evaluate
correct,
other than what you just discussed.
correct, just what's in the zoning administrator said prior to the July 21st document.
Okay. And Jess, I have to agree with you. I think we need to have a complete understanding of it. It's hard to get a complete understanding and a foothold on it in a short period of time too. Because we know there's been lots of time spent on making these corrections, these updates that need to be in place for our zoning board to make the decision they need to make. So I don't know when we'll get into roundtable, and hopefully Wade will be here for that. When we'll get into roundtable, maybe 10:30, maybe 11, maybe noon. So if you could just kind of keep yourself available for a phone call. Okay. Bobby, I know you're in this zoning. Do you have anything you want to add before we leave this subject and go to our next topic?
No, sir. I think the board and Heidi did a good job summarizing the changes. And I think the actions you're proposing to take, possibly later on during roundtable, is wise.
Thank you.
Agreeable?
I
Okay, thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You've been here longer. Come see the board.
Heidi was scheduled for 25 minutes this morning, and of course, we're unable to finish that completely until we get into roundtable. So we're going to move up. I see Jeff is here from Road and Bridge. Jeff, you want to come forward?
What's his name?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I
Seeing
looked at
something
one
on-
gentleman back there and looked like Jeff.
He is with Big Iron, though, it's.
Big Iron,
Yeah.
and is anybody with Purple Wave? Okay. We've got about 15 minutes till we get into the Road and Bridge. I'm not sure which one of you to choose first. One of you just want to come forward? I mean, the Big Iron or Purple Wave, and
Alphabetic order.
one of you want to just step forward. I think all of you know that we've got some equipment that we're going to be selling. We have not made any decision on how we're going to sell it and who we're going to select to sell it, how we're going to sell it, and the time frame yet. But you're with Big Iron. I'll just allow you to introduce yourself and tell us what you have to talk.
I'm from Motor, Kansas, and I'm with Big Iron. We've been doing a lot of local auctions around here. Oh, Mr. Jesse, I work today. And I've talked to a couple of your county guys, you know, and maybe asked to come and see the stuff. Well, we're not there yet, so I'm coming up here a little. I don't know what we're selling, or whether it's trucks, backhoes, all the above, you know. But I just didn't know what we had.
Bunch of miscellaneous equipment.
Just miscellaneous. But these just little bidder things, shows where our bidders come from and everything. This is our September 29th sale.
I guess I can give you guys a copy of this, is that correct?
And there's two there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Your first name, sir?
Bob,
Bob?
can I get two copies?
No, I don't. That was my copy, so I've got another one here that's been altered, so.
You know, the equipment we've got listed is 15, 16, 18 different pieces, maybe added to it a little bit later, maybe a little bit up and come off. Some of the lower valued stuff, you know, we may try to sell at a local sale in the spring, but we haven't, my knowledge, we haven't had any connections with Big Iron, Purple Wave, or I guess that's Purple Wave,
All right.
auction time. So we just thought, you know, if businesses want to come in and make a short presentation on what you could offer to us, you know, it'd be fantastic. We're here to listen to what you can provide for us on the equipment that we will have for sale sometime probably next spring. Time hasn't been totally set, and the piece of equipment hasn't been totally established, although I see Jeff just walked in. It's, you know, this is pretty well a list that we will be selling.
Right.
What's your guys' fees, Bob?
But it's on a sliding scale, but I'm thinking, you know, if you're in the $250,000 range, we'll probably just make it a flat 8% deal. And you got small items, there's no reason to get the local auctioneer to do the small items. We can do the small items too. I mean, we do it all the time.
Well, I think one of the reasons for the small items is because they don't amount to much, and some of them are things that the local taxpayers who bought them and they originally bought them would have an opportunity to buy them back with just coming to our local auction. And we have a lot of junk too that we don't have no sense have other people mess with besides some of this equipment. So
A lot of the bigger items draw a lot of eyes to the smaller items and make them bring more money. You know, when you're listing bigger items, they see everything you have to sell, or you can click on our site, click to see, you know, other items from seller. That brings more money for the little stuff too.
more eyeballs hit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, more eyeballs hit it, you know,
Hit the cell bill.
yeah.
Our bidder base right now is, in my last meeting we had, we're at 330,000 registered active bidders right now. So a lot of people look at your stuff.
So does the seller or the buyer pay the 8% on here?
The seller, we charge the seller, but we don't charge any buyer's premium.
We don't
So the
charge
buyer,
no buyer premium.
I won't hold back 10%, you know, what
Yeah.
they're gonna pay in the end.
My thinking on the small stuff is, we have a lot of local people, and everybody doesn't use internet. And these local people pay for this stuff originally, they should have the opportunity to be able to come to an auction and buy it back without having to bid
Sure,
against other
sure.
people.
Mhm.
I mean, we're not talking the big dollar items, so.
But it saves you the hassle of having another auction too.
Well, we've had them for years, and I don't think it's that big of a hassle for us, if
Okay.
you want to know the
Okay,
truth, so.
so
You're talking about like local auction.
So we have about every other year, we have a local auction of county equipment, so.
Get all the local people.
Well, yeah, we have file cabinets and stuff like
Sure.
that too,
yeah,
so. Chairs.
Yeah, it'll be miscellaneous equipment here at the courthouse, and maybe some stuff that the sheriff has, road and bridge, so, you know, and that sale, normally, we always have a local auctioneer that'll do that for us, so we're providing a service as well as trying to keep as much of that as we can. And those items that Bob's talking about, most of those are items that probably wouldn't bring $500 to $1,000.
Mhm.
So if you don't reach a $250,000 minimum, does that 8% go to 10? Or at what time and point do you try to analyze that prior to the sale?
well, that's why we
And
kind of.
give us where you-
Yeah, we
you
kind of
put
like
an
a look,
8%.
yeah, we can pretty much tell just driving through your stuff, you know. just
It's just it's a sliding scale. And on a regular auction, 250,000 to 750,000 is 8%. And if you 125 to 250 is 9, 50 to 125 is 10. But what we typically do with counties and stuff like that, we offer a little bit of discounted rate. That's why we just do a set rate. So if you didn't hit 250,000 and you were hit the 9 and 10%, we'd put in there that you were at 8% set. So you don't have to worry about it.
So you've got some flexibility out to where if it doesn't quite reach that, you're still gonna set it.
Yeah, I said, I can set the rate at what,
We'll probably just set it, you know, when we do it, so.
we like to kind of look at it, put our eyes on everything kind of first, you know.
Yeah.
And see what you're selling.
Jeff,
Get a better idea.
since this list was made,
Mm-hmm.
any other items you think might be added to it?
Not added at this time. I mean, we really haven't talked officially much about the higher items that I had listed that I felt could be potential for higher dollar trade-ins in the future for us to use. The things you're talking about taking off, I think we took off the chain harrow and the trailer that hauls it for the local auction. There's a drop cedar and potentially the round bell mulcher. I haven't really decided that one yet, but as far as change.
So
But
right now, this
adding-
is a
adding
pretty-
right now, not that I'm
As of
aware
right now, this is a pretty complete list to the best of your knowledge.
Mhm.
Okay. You gentlemen, you have a business card?
Sure.
And Andrew's, or I'm sure Jeff's probably got all that stuff. Jeff, you've got all the information, how to get a hold of it.
No, I think I could use
Right, dude.
Yeah.
Here's your speed dial.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, sir. Well, thank you.
I knew it didn't,
Lady too.
I knew I didn't understand your last name, and after I see it, I know why.
Mine's easier. And here's,
Kevin, I'll be able to handle that.
there's just a couple
Okay,
flyers, and there's a result flyer right there. Just want to kind of look over and see what things have been doing.
okay.
And that kind of explains our business. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Anybody have any questions for Bob or Kevin?
We can answer anything.
You can answer anything.
They can answer anything.
Why did the Chiefs lose last night?
I can't answer that.
They didn't score enough points.
I about fell asleep during the rain delay.
20 points isn't gonna win very many NFL games anymore.
No, no.
I'll tell you what, Bob and Kevin, we do appreciate you coming forward, and like I said, we, in the near future, we'll start setting some times.
Okay.
Complete list and somebody.
If you need some people, local people like, that we work for here, we work for Wade Thompson, and several local people around here.
So you work with Wade,
Oh, yeah.
I'm again.
Pam Noonan right here by town, we.
Sam out here at North End? Oh,
Pam.
Noonan, okay,
Yeah,
Pam.
yeah. Yeah, we done her sale, got along real good. Several local people.
So you've had some local exposure too?
Oh, sure,
Okay.
sure.
We got a lot of
Lion.
referrals.
Lyon County Commissioner, Martin's out there, Raleigh Martin, we done their retirement sale and they quit milking, so. So no, we've got, just that, or I can get you a referral list.
If you care to do it, that's up to you, just you forward it to Andrea, our executive
Okay,
administrator.
all right.
We
Okay.
can do
Any
that.
questions for Bob or Kevin? Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right.
And we're almost down to our 9:30 time, Jeff, but we'll go ahead and talk to Purple Wave. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is John Rogers with Purple Wave Auction. And we sent out last week. Did you guys get that? Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And we got a card here from Keith
Keith Lees.
Lees?
Keith had to go on another project this morning, so he asked me to fill in for him. And Purple Wave Auction, we're similar, but we're online only auction. And if you had a chance to read over, 346,000 registered bidders and more than 3 million visitors in 2021. We do our auctions segmented by industry. For example, twice a month we have a ag auction, so it's only ag assets in that auction. Twice a month we have a construction auction, then we have a truck and trailer auction, and we have a government auction. So twice a month there's a government auction, and you can see the list about Purple Wave government customers. It lists them in Iowa, Illinois, and you can see there's a very robust list for Kansas. We sell for many counties, cities that use us on an annual basis. And we feel like when we do it segmented by industry, that people like to, when they have a government auction, they know that those items are very well taken care of. So, and also when we have 2 a month, you don't have to wait. You know, if you have a piece of equipment that's ready to go, you don't have to wait 6 months. You can call us and we'll put it with other government assets from all over the United States. Let's see. Event marketing, we also had event marketing where you can see the flyers that we put out there for government auctions.
So something unforeseen happened, we'd have 1 or 2 pieces of equipment available, and I imagine maybe the other companies to be same service. You can list 1 piece that's
Right, we can list 1 or 20.
probably available from all the firms.
Because a lot of times, you know, right now, there's so much uncertainty in the market. You order something, hoping that it should have been in last week, and you're not gonna get it for 6 months.
We're seeing that.
Right. So what you can do is when your piece comes in, then you can call us and we can make the used piece of equipment go away. And we did sell a fire engine for you guys. You can see on about page 5 or 6.
Yeah, Lebo's rescue unit.
Yes. And then we have the flyers in the back up here. And it lists all the cities that we have sold for, so if you have any questions, you can certainly call them. And our marketing department makes flyers for each specific auction. Any questions for me?
I guess the question is,
Fees, there is no fee to our sellers. Zero seller fee. We do have a 10% buyer's premium. And what that means is if somebody bids $40,000, you get the $40,000 and we charge them the 10%. So it's not taken away from your fees.
You know, that's a little bit unusual compared to other firms, you know, with local firms and auctioneers throughout the country. Do you feel like that there's a plus to that to the seller?
We have not, we are growing. This year, we're up 53% over last year. And,
And that's auction dollars.
yes, auction dollars, sure is. And assets, last year we sold, we're up about 20% on assets. We've sold over 30,000 assets already this year. So it doesn't seem to be a deterrent. People, and it's easy to figure, people can figure it in. And, you know, I always tell people, do we really charge a 10%? You decide that you want, if you, when it's selling, and the bid is 40,000, you know that you're gonna pay 44,000. So it's not like there's a surprise at the end of it. You make up your mind ahead of time what you wanna pay.
And 10% makes it easy to compute. too.
It does.
Yeah.
Pretty easy for me.
You mentioned 53% over last year. How's that compare with 2019 before the COVID?
But we were up,
Are you still up from the?
yes, we are. I'll give you one indication. We used to average, before COVID, for the first 5 years before COVID, we averaged 25,000 new registrants per year. During the COVID year, we had 60,000 new registrants. I mean, it just went through the roof. And the reason for that is there were more people at home, number one. They had time to get on the computer. And number three, there were a lot of live auctions that were shut down because of COVID. You couldn't get together. So, and anymore, people are, you know, used to get online and buy a medication or things like that on Amazon.com. And now then, we have a tremendous number of people that are buying yellow iron or pickups. There's a shortage out there, so they're going where they can get them. And you know, just as any internet auction company, when you put it on there, there's thousands of eyes. You know, we sold some stuff in Wichita, Kansas last week and went to Russia. So it's you put it before a lot of people. And as I said, they used to just buy smaller items. And I talked to a guy the other day, and I said, I'm surprised that you're buying $100,000 dozer at an auction. And you know, you have a generation of buyers now that don't really want to talk to a salesman so much. They can get on, they can look at it and say, that's what I want to buy, and they don't have to talk to anyone. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, good or bad, but that's where some of the buyers are coming from today. Any other questions?
Have they got any questions or comments?
Okay, well, we certainly appreciate another opportunity to represent your assets on Purple Wave along with other government entities. And you have Keith's card, and he would be your contact.
Keith's the card we got.
Yep. Keith's your guy. He just pulled me in kind of like the pinch runner, or pinch hitter, or whatever. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for coming.
You bet.
Appreciate it. So I was told either this morning or maybe Friday that Big Iron and Purple Wave could probably be here, so that worked out fantastic. We're only about 2 minutes behind schedule. Jeff, we took 2 minutes from you. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Jeff.
Speaking of auctions, our local auction that we're having, will we have the ability before it's totally finished to add to that?
Yes.
So if there's some update there.
Don, I'm not sure whether these guys just want to stay because they enjoy our meeting or whether they think we're going to make a decision, but we're not making any
we won't.
decisions today.
Okay, you're absolutely
But you're
welcome.
welcome to stay.
Absolutely welcome to stay, but like we mentioned, we don't have any time frame on this for sure. And so you're welcome to stay and listen. And like I said, we appreciate you coming, and you're free to go at any time too, so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Bob.
No, this is.
I think they're just a copy.
Yeah.
It might get rather boring for them.
That's sure, that's sure. One for each one. There you go, Bob.
less talk.
There you go. Any questions? Three road permits that were in your packet. Initially, there was some boards that, rural water's gonna do up in the Waverly area. Guess I'll just go down the list like we have in the book. You see the landfill bills for September, and I don't know if you wanted discussion on the scrap iron. It's not as large a pile as we usually have, but the price is up now. The last pile we got rather large, and we got rid of it for rather inexpensive price, so we thought why that number was, why the scrap prices were up, we try to clean it up.
Talking about price being up, is it $100?
It's, I checked on Friday, it's anywhere from $135 to $140 picked up on our site.
But we
That's not
will,
official.
we will clean it up no matter what the weight is, right? Because this,
Yes.
because this is cleanup week.
Right.
We had to add some, it doesn't matter.
Right, and that's kind of, so that's 75 tons that we, I think it's in the motion. Kind of considers what we might get this week as well.
When I was reviewing this list last week, one thing that caught my eye, 898 tires. That's a huge amount compared to what it has been. That all come from one supplier?
No, but that come due to the death of Mr. Yoho.
Okay, from Gate Center?
Yeah, he was doing a pretty good amount of business in Coffee County, and
Okay.
since that's
I was wondering if it wasn't.
no longer in business, that those companies are bringing them direct right now.
Is his son going to continue that business or do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
I haven't talked to the
I,
families.
I haven't heard that that's gonna be continued.
So are we taking a lot of tires from out of county?
Zero,
Zero from out of
yeah,
county
we try not to take any.
because it costs us so much.
Yes.
Okay.
And we did raise the price on the tires, correct?
Right, that'll be in, take effect in January 1. I think.
January 1, I think the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the
I
date.
remember talking about it.
Now, Bob, to clarify, we do take out of county processed tires. But they're processed, they go directly in our tire model field.
Right.
So
But we just don't
we don't take full tires out of
try to
county.
encourage it.
Has tire dumping been an issue yet to the rest of the county?
No, we see it once or twice, or occasionally, I should say, but, no, actually, years and years ago, we took them at no cost, and that was the biggest fear when we started charging for tires. And there was just a little bit at the onset, but overall, there's not been a lot.
Good. I think the difference on that is, used to be years ago that a lot of people changed their own tires and did them, and they didn't have to pay them. Now, the people, tires just seem to last longer for the most part, and people go to the station, they get a change, the station takes care of it.
Yep.
So they're not, they don't have to.
It's not quite as much.
Right. And they have real no trespassing signs now instead of throwing a tire on a fence and marking.
Anybody have any questions before we move, Jeff, before we move into our motion? So we got the road permits, landfill, we got 2 motions, 3 permits, I don't know if anybody's got any questions on them or not. And then we got the construction zone. Anything special on the construction zone we need to be made aware of, Jeff?
I need to find one, but I don't believe there is.
Did folks see that all get completed before this cool weather hit this week?
No. We actually went today, since it's raining, to pick up 800 gallons that we're gonna try to get the white lines on Old Highway 50 covered over before the painter gets there, 5 miles. If this weather pattern continues, we may not get Irish Road south of 19th Tomwa, and we may not get up at Waverly,
Old
Shetland,
Shetland?
25th Highway Old Highway 50 and then that little piece going into town. That could potentially be not accomplished, but everything else was
So
done as of
you probably
Friday.
did complete 75-80% of your projects, though.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gonna be fairly cool this week and maybe a little damp, so this week's out, probably totally out.
Yes.
Jeff, are you guys gonna try to do some more patching up there before you come in and spray a nice pretty white line?
If we, I can't guarantee it. I mean, I just like you're talking about this fog seal, I really need to get the guys on the patching while we still have some weather. It hasn't been completely discussed, and I don't know what this weather's gonna do to our paint striker. They were supposed to call me in the middle of this week to potentially pull in Thursday or Friday, so
I just hate to have a nice pretty white line up there and then go in and have to do it back.
lose it. I mean,
Mess up the white line.
yeah, that's
But
potential, and if it's a short area, we have the ability to go in, it's not as nice and pretty and it's straight, but we can go in and patch it lines back in. We have done that before.
Again, paintbrush.
4-inch.
4-inch.
Yes, sir. We try to use rollers.
Toothbrush. Toothbrush.
Do we have a question before we get into the motions?
No, sir.
You want to lead us into the motions, Jeff, or you want me to just take off?
Just take off if you don't mind, and if you have any questions from there, I'll try to answer. I'm sure there'll be a couple.
We talked about retaining a business for the scrap iron. Do we still need to approve that $99.99? Did we make any decisions about putting that out for bids?
Well, they're authorizing soliciting for bids.
Yeah.
To dispose. Is that right, Jeff? You're
That's
ordering
correct.
bids to dispose. Probably better run it.
I'm sorry.
Probably better run it.
Yeah.
And do it.
First motion is 99-99, based on the recommendation of the county engineer, move to find approximately 75 tons of scrap iron and metal appliances are no longer required and cannot prudently be used for public purpose of Coffee County, and as such shall be disposed of by sale to the best bidder based on a competitive bid per ton at the time of disposal, and to publish notice of intent for such disposal in the official county newspaper.
I'll move.
Jesse moved, Bob is second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. Motion 2021-55, based on recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the county engineer's request to solicit formal bids for 1 15-foot bush hog for best bid. Funds to be paid from the Public Works equipment line item.
Can we add general fund in front of that?
I'm sorry,
General fund
okay, general fund in front of the equipment
in front of public works equipment.
for Public Works.
Is this a replacement or is this a new one or what?
This is not adding to the fleet, it's a replacement, but we typically have them trade those in, we use it for parts, what we have left. We have sold a 10-footer here not too long ago, but we have enough parts to put together and sell to our local auction.
So technically, this is just a replacement because you're
That's
using the
correct.
old one for the parts to fix some of the other 5 or 6 more you currently have. Are they all pretty well the same brand, Jeff?
They all
Same
are,
company?
they all brush
I know
hogs.
some of our tractors are different, the graders are different, but the brush hogs are all the same.
Yes,
So there's a lot of interchangeable parts.
yes.
Okay.
Does that motion need to say for best bids? Because it's always best bids for us, it's not. I mean, you can't just say for 1 15-foot bush hog. We'll determine what's best bid is. We don't need, I don't know if we've ever done that before, but for best bid,
Take that out.
well, I don't think it's necessary. You guys think?
It's just wording, it's just verbiage.
Just something we've never done. Because I think we always try to get the best.
If it says best bid, technically, we gotta accept the lowest bid regardless of who it's from.
No, you don't.
No, you can
Best
still,
bid.
you still,
It says best bid, not lowest bid.
Okay,
That's why.
to me, it's got the same terminology. Best bid's the lowest bid.
No,
When it says best, that's the lowest.
Could be longevity, but.
I don't know how Wade would respond to that.
once we take it out, we don't have to worry about it.
That,
Vice Chair, I move with the corrections
with the correction of taking the best bid out
and general fund public works.
and put in the general fund public works.
I'll second that.
Jesse's moved, Tim was second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. Angie? Next motion is 2021-56, and there's an A and a B to it. Based on the recommendation of the county engineer and approval of the county attorney to find that T-54 1996 Chevrolet ZB100 for the last six numbers of VIN number 005430 is no longer required or cannot prudently be used for public purposes of Coffee County, and as such should be disposed of by trade-in or sales. Notice of the board's intentions to dispose of said property will be published on October 14th and October 21st in the official county newspaper.
What is this truck?
You were seeing most with our sprayer on it, with some new Chevrolet.
Is that a top kick? Or is it just a regular city pickup?
No, it's bigger than that.
So it's like a 550?
Not a top.
55.
It's not a top yet, it's got a snub nose, it looks more like an Isuzu. I always called it Isuzu.
If that doesn't become a part of the trade-in, will that be part of the sale?
We
Or
can make it,
potentially be a part of the sale?
we can make it whatever.
How many miles is it?
Don't rough. have that.
I asked Wayne that question Thursday when I seen this, and he didn't have the mileage with him. Other than 26 or 1996, it's 25 years old, so.
We just trading chassis, right?
Bed and chassis.
Bed and chassis, so we're looking at a whole new spray truck.
Well, what we're looking for is more of a multi-purpose truck, one to run our sprayer, one, when we get down to the next one, we'll be looking at a 550 Ford and 550 style truck with a flatbed that we can pull a gooseneck with, and a sander and a plow, so we can use it in our smaller subdivisions, do snow and ice control, and just make it more of a multi-use.
Okay, you just said let's move to the next one, just since you mentioned it, 550 style, why are we specifying Ford 550 instead of a?
There's not a lot that's out
Or
there.
comparable?
It's hard to get does Chevrolet make a 55?
I don't think Chevrolet makes one that big. Dodge makes a 5,000.
Yes.
So we stuck with what we hoped we could get locally.
I would
Yeah,
still
not-
like to see the bid say or comparable.
See what?
I would still like to see the bid say or comparable instead of specifying.
Comparable to F-550?
Right. And then we can go back to what we discussed up there. We can make the best bid, make the best choice.
Sure. I think however you want to do it, when we look at state bid, I'm not real comfortable that we'll even be able to find this truck.
That's why
Right now?
I would have our options out for
Sure.
anything other than one specific truck.
Right. I know we're 6 Fords and 3 Dodges are right now, but I don't think there's any government concessions on them. So it's gonna make it really hard for us to find the vehicle that we're looking for within the budget that we've set.
Nor Ram's hard to get.
So the ones I know that have them aren't gonna give us any government discounts.
Be tied to the state discount. What's that state discount normally? Is that a 5% reduction or 10%?
It varies.
Or it floats all
varies
over?
on-
It floats all over?
Yeah. What I've seen, the source well prices seem to be right in there. Like I said, I'd like to Basically start with, visit with Grow Modi, see if they got a source well and have access to a chassis. And see what the price is, but it may just not be available.
What's everybody's thoughts on A? You want to go?
I'll move to. I'll move.
Jesse has moved to, on motion 2021-56, here, entertain a second.
I'll second.
Tim a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. I was looking at the clock.
Now we've got B to deal with.
I'm sorry?
We got section B to deal
Yeah, we
with.
got section B. 2021-56, B. Based on a recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the county engineer's request to solicit formal bids for one F-550 truck with a dump body, plow, and sander as to purchase, separate or combined, for best bid with proposed trade-in options of a T-54, a 1996 Chevrolet with the final six numbers, VIN number 005430. Funds to be paid from the Public Works Equipment line item. You want general funds in front of that also?
I'd like for that motion to read for one F-550 or comparable.
It sounds like that's some of the discussion. Is that everybody agreeable to put that in there?
I would put equivalent to.
Equivalent to, yeah.
Okay. Any other corrections? I'd entertain a motion to move on B with that correction.
I'll make that motion.
Tim is so moved.
I'll second.
Jesse is second. Any other discussion?
What kind of a bed you guys gonna put on this truck? Just steel bed? Have
We
you
were
thought about
discussing
going
this
aluminum
morning, looking stainless actually.
or stainless?
Yeah.
For longevity because of the sander? I mean, it's probably gonna be worth the extra money to do that. I sure hate seeing them putting a steel bed on it to sander that.
Well, and we.
Defeats
we've had-
purpose.
We've had that problem in the past. It's terrible. We've got a truck right now that, our little bobtail with the bed's about gone or going away. Trying to be more careful with that.
This will be a diesel, right?
I don't know that it'll be a diesel. Yes. With the trouble on tier 4 final stuff.
Freightliner and Kenworth, they're
Small trucks.
small trucks, but I just don't know about the turning radius of those.
Well, we talked about that this morning, watching our wheelbase on this truck.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into a bigger apparatus, bigger truck, like your small Freightliners or your small.
T300
I
or
wouldn't do
330s, something to them a little bit.
Yeah, little 330s.
I'll say this on the F-550, you get a 16-foot box, and I drive one. Turning radius is about the same as the F-650 with a 24-foot box, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's in a tight corner.
That's why, I mean, we'd like to watch a wheelbase. I don't think we'd like a bed quite that long.
I think that'd help a lot.
Well, with this motion, you'll get some options out there, people.
Yeah, and then we'll just keep you posted on if it's even available or what obstacles we'll be finding. I won't keep up much of your time. I know Don's watching the clock, but I do have a couple comments.
We got to vote on this.
Yeah, we still got both. Any other
Whether he's taking medicine
comments
or
or discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye with a correction. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0, Angie. What else do you have for us, Jeff?
Just a talking point, I'm sure, Jesse, you got this visit last week as well. I got a visit with our Kenworth salesman. As you guys remember, back in May, we ordered a dump truck. And, our salesman come in, we signed the documentation and the contract on that truck for $123,436. And he presented us a new contract for $131,675 and told him no. we weren't, that's what that truck's costing them now. Wanted to see if we could split that or something, and we said, no, we're not splitting that with you. We signed the deal. At that point, he said he would honor that, and he wasn't, since we're a municipality, was not gonna jerk that truck away from us. We're still looking at March or April delivery on that truck, but that's something we're finding, the availability. So what I was simply gonna ask or put to you guys, we have a truck also, the same truck more or less on 2022 budget year. Would it be possible to go ahead and search that? I know Sourcewell pricing has been updated since we bought this truck. On the truck side anyway, I don't exactly know on the bed side, I haven't talked to Henderson at all. But I'd like to pursue the pricing for that unit for purchase in 2022, but if there's any way that we could all agree on it, to make that order potentially in the next month or two, to hopefully get it delivered in that calendar year, and not wait till after the first year.
I do know that there have been allocations, and I do know the price of trucks from what I just received to first, second, third, and fourth quarter of next year are $10,000 to $15,000 more. So I think the person, number one, better get into allocations, and then that's my personal thinking. And it's just going to be $10,000 to $15,000. Well, you're going to see, you're already seeing a $10,000 increase there.
He said at least look for $10,000 on the cabin chassis, and I don't know what the bed will be. I mean, so the biggest thing, we can gather them numbers and see if it even comes close to fitting in our budget. Now, we have the truck that's in a box sitting in the backyard right now. We will have a trade-in, I believe, for the next truck, so that might help ease it and get it into the budget.
And it might be best to, try to get the trade-in sooner than later, because the price of used trucks are also $10,000 to $15,000 more.
Yeah, I would assume they would honor all that, even if they can't deliver a truck till next November. So, and this is one unit.
But we can't trade because we're looking at next year's budget, so it can't be.
Exactly, but what I'm saying, we won't see a truck. We won't see this truck. We're not even seeing our 2021 truck until March or April, hopefully, of 2022. I'm just hoping to get this truck, the ball rolling. And I don't know what the legalities are about allocating 2022's money this year.
Maybe I misunderstood Jesse, but I think Jesse was talking, if we're trading, let's get that truck out there for trade where they can trade now, but we can't do that.
Well, exactly, the physical trade wouldn't happen until they delivered the new truck, but if the pricing stuck at today's prices, we might.
They might give you a pretty good estimate, but they're not gonna guarantee. My stuff is, they wanna look at that truck a month before the deal's done.
So then, that's gonna make our numbers a little harder to.
It's gonna be hard to pinpoint numbers.
Yeah.
Real hard.
So if it's okay with me to move forward with Sourcewell pricing on a cabin chassis and bed, and I can have Wayne bring that back to you in 2 weeks or even 30 days if it takes that long to get it, just for further talking points on that.
I think it's better to be proactive.
I think it's one of those things we just kind of need to move forward to see what falls in place.
See what happens.
Because the delay of shipping of those type of vehicles or any type of vehicles right now is evidently totally unknown.
It's really crazy. I've actually got a 330 size truck in next year too. And I'll do the talking when I'm with him on this truck and see if those allocations are far behind as the big ones. I don't know.
Anybody have any problems with just moving ahead?
We don't have to do anything formal until
Yeah,
we see the numbers.
and they might not even give you numbers. They might.
On the trade-in, they may not.
Well, even on a new one into 2022 or 2023.
Well, he might not. Justin was actually, he said that Sourcewell pricing has been updated. And that he was gonna shoot me some numbers. I don't know what day he come, I think he come see me the same days he did me, last Tuesday or Wednesday.
Friday I was gone. It's Friday, I think.
He said, so he'd come back to see you then, so, but I never did see your numbers.
Anything else for us, Jeff?
No, glad you just didn't know one sheet of paper.
Hey, we could have made it.
Anybody have any questions or comments for,
Good job, Jeff.
thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. What, 10 o'clock?
We need to, is there certain times?
I was gonna ask the commission if you'd be fine with this, go ahead and let Mr. Richard come forward and have his ceremony, and then superintendent will come up after him.
Yeah, we are at 10 o'clock, and that is the time frame we got set for swearing in our county treasurer, Richard Kroll, so. Temporarily shut down, huh?
Yes, ma'am. There wasn't many people in there, so.
Okay, you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you, Richard Kroll, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the state of Kansas and the Constitution, I'm sorry, back up. Support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Kansas and faithfully discharge the duties of Coffee County Treasurer, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Coffee County, congratulations, Richard. Yeah, officially welcome aboard. Mark, did you get the picture you needed for your paper?
Oh, yes.
We are scheduled for a quick break, but I do Craig.
Go ahead, if you, go ahead.
But what I'd like
Take
to
it.
also ask the commissioners, if you'd be fine with this, go ahead and have your break, because I have two things I was gonna ask to add to my request. So you'll hear from the superintendent on the matter, where we propose to take action today on. The second piece of that would be, I have a request for executive session to go discuss property acquisition. And I'd like to do all that after break, if that's fine.
Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We'll kind of hold it for 10 minutes, come back 10:15.
Oh, of course, yes, I got my. Oh, I know, yes. So, I've got it.
I've got. I did have it.
Don't have anything until 15 or so. Yeah. So, I've got some.
Yeah.
That's what I would, you wouldn't know why I was good. Okay.
Where's what?
Yeah, yeah, either one. Call them both. Tell them, I didn't.
What I was thinking is I could find somebody to plug in there, because it's gonna be a real low volume affair this year.
Yeah.
But next year's not.
Now,
I'd like to get somebody to do that next year, so that they'll get a run through here, because next year will be extremely tough.
Steve Lyle will hook me up, man, let's go, and I already. Great meter.
I'm not sure they're able to do that on the day.
See that?
I'll have to give this up, this up. Well, it's better.
It's better. I
Saw him last winter, and I was calling him. He was all off down. I didn't realize he was in red. We used to have like hip replacements and back surgery.
So far, Kenneth would be,
Good at it.
yeah.
Good at either one. We really just need one for this election. We just, I we're gonna have two grown-ups. Then we'll have two kids that already know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's, he just doesn't want to. But
Yeah, he does.
We still haven't heard anything from him.
Yeah, I know. That storm might have him tied up somewhere.
You know, when I talked to him last night, he was standing in line at the airport. I didn't ask him whether it's Kansas City or where he was at in Michigan.
Yeah, they might have him tied down somewhere. So what are you doing up in Lyon County now?
Work for Call Valley Engineering.
Oh, that's right.
They hired me to be the field services manager out of that office. So
Oh, okay.
got down there 1st of September and kind of hoping the ball would be rolling and found out it's not. So my job right now is to find us work.
Oh, so what did you
Field service, concrete testing, special inspections, asphalt testing, structural steel, that sort of thing. That's my job, but we also do, surveying and geotechnical, engineering and civil engineering. So. How's business going for you?
We're busy.
Sorry,
We're very
I see your trucks out on the interstate
Yeah,
all the
we're
time.
busy all the time.
Yeah.
I've been having to drive quite a little bit, so I gotta leave today and go, so.
Yeah.
I'm here one minute and gone the next, it seems like, so.
Yeah.
But, no, it's been good, can't complain, just wish we could get some more employees, so.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work.
That's the thing is trying to find reliable employees.
Yeah.
Ones that show up every day and care about what they're doing. So, yeah.
Are you on a time frame to get out of here, Jesse?
No, they know I'm gonna be late up there, so, yeah, it's, I think I've hired 2 guys. I've hired 2 employees in 2021.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. And I think we've got 5 trucks sitting
No kidding.
and 1 shop position open. So,
Yeah. You got enough work where you can be using those trucks every day? Yeah.
Yeah. But one good thing, they're not out burning $3.50 diesel fuel.
Yeah. Where you gotta drive to today?
I gotta go up St. Joe. I went out Friday at Hutch and loaded, and then I gotta go up to St. Joe.
Yeah.
Up to the hot dog factory down there. They use a lot of salt.
Yeah. Well, so do you know James Sloan?
James Sloan.
Yeah. He's the guy that gave me your number. Cause we were having, when I got to Osawatomie, we were getting our salt through Kansas Salt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the guy's actually in Missouri. And it's actually just a house. So what he does is he hooks up some trucking company to haul, and his charge is like 76 a ton. And James told me to call you. Yeah. And he's like, you can save a ton of money. So he's Jesse. And so I figured I don't know how he knows you, but He was the one that gave me your number.
James, what do you do?
He's, James and RJ Trucking. They do a lot of work up at the intermodal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I talked to him to see whether he could haul it, and he's like, I can, and he said, call you guys can save us a ton of money, so.
Yeah. Yeah, people make it out to be more expensive than what it really is, but they're all just, that's, you can't call it price gouging, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I know, there was a time you guys went down, I think it was in October, and your truck had to sit outside the mine for like 4 hours before they could even get in, because everybody's lined up to get salt. And so I started, put a reminder in my phone,
Mm-hmm.
have you guys haul during the summer when there isn't a line, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I hauled a bunch of golf carts for the Oswatamy.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny, because we were, I can't remember what it was. Oh, we were gonna rent them through this other company, and something fell through,
Mm-hmm.
and our golf superintendent got on the phone and found some golf carts in the area, and he was like, I don't know how to get them here, so I called you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they still using it? The whole
No, not, they
For a
haven't
while.
for a while.
Yeah.
I think I did it twice, maybe.
So is the city still using you guys for whole salt?
Yeah, so,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
about 50 of them.
I figured it was in one of my drawers.
We enjoy
Come find out, Kathy hung it up on a hanger.
same customers every year, you
Yeah.
know, so.
Right.
They stand beside you and behind you, you know, so.
Yeah.
Try to take care of them. There's more coming.
I'll go into your neighborhood this weekend, west,
You're gonna have to calm them mules down.
west of you.
Is west of them. Calm them mules down. I heard them all day yesterday.
Were you over in my neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm Riverside East. That's my address.
Oh, you
now.
probably heard the neighbor's donkey.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what it was.
I figured I could go to your neighborhood if you came to my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I was out of county.
I was with the sled property.
Oh, the big wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is that yours?
That was our neighbor.
That is your neighbor.
Yep. You were lucky they had it Saturday, so yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt.
At 5 o'clock, the wind started picking up. What time did you leave? Did you leave yesterday?
No, I'm still there.
You're,
I'm there until this time Sunday.
dang. Which side are you on?
East,
I mean, where? Clear down the corner?
no, up top. I think it's
No, you're not even down.
8 or 9.
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, he said he's just waiting.
I'm sorry.
He's available when we get to his signal.
Bring Minnie over there.
What's that?
I was bring Minnie over there. I didn't, sometimes I, so yeah, I go drive.
There's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's probably 10 up top. And then there's quite a few down below, but I don't know how many are left yet.
Well, it was a good weekend. Last good. Well, they closed on
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
We'll be there until the 7th. We will move out next Sunday. I'm sure it's sour now. We'll go to.
Okay, we are back in session. It is 10:15, so. Bobby, if you
Yes, sir.
come forward and welcome this morning.
Yes, sir.
Superintendent of Burlington Schools, Craig, welcome to you also.
Thank you.
So what do you have for us? What do you have for us this morning, Bobby?
A week or so ago, I had a conversation with the superintendent. He reminded me that economic development, prior to the daycare facility being constructed, had donated some money. And I'm not real sure if at that time the money was meant to be something that was going to be kind of regular, but superintendent approached me again here recently and discussed that possibly continuing the economic development participation in the daycare. And I was reminded that we have these ARPA funds. We've talked about them in past, the commissioners have talked about these funds, but these funds are very specific. They're COVID related. It's under the American Rescue Plan Act. The commissioners have spent just a little bit of this money, well, a good portion of it, on a broadband project. But so just to remind you, these ARPA funds are very limited as to the use of the funds. They have real strict guidelines on what can and can't be used for. And again, they're all COVID related. And it's an economic development ideal based around the impact that COVID's presented towards different things, such as operational early childhood care. That's one of the items that we're actually looking at and proposing that the commissioners approve to allow some of these funds to be used for to assist with the daycare, to replace the economic development funds that come right out of our budget. So just to remind you also, the commissioners have received over half the money, well, half the funding. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cassandra. So you've got half the money in the bank. You'll get another portion of that money in this next fiscal cycle from the Department of Treasury. After I talked with the superintendent, I sent a detailed request on determination to our administrator. We first asked, is it legal? Can we do it? And we received that answer back this week. So it is approved, at least on that level. If the commission approves the request, I'm just going to hand this over to you. I'm sorry, I just want to lay everything out. Today, for this, it's not the end of the story. The superintendent would have to work with that administrator because he's going to be audited. Every penny is going to be accounted for where it actually has to go. So this is not just a general approval today that I'm asking for. And he'll have to have some engagement with the clerk as well before funds are dispersed. But if you want to talk about your needs.
I really don't have too much more to add other than I know you all have had a chance to go over either at the open house or last week to see the Early Learning Center. Again, we have up to 30 kids. We do have a waiting list. We have kids that are not only Burlington kids, but kids throughout the county. We have about 5 or 6 kids and that are, again, outside of Burlington proper, if you will. And again, we expect to hopefully be able to grow up to 48. Our maximum number that we can, obviously have in that, or I should say, obviously, a maximum number we can have in the daycare would be 72, but we're hoping to go to 48 at some point in time. And the grant that we're talking with Bobby about just would help us with, again, first year costs, new business operating. There's some challenges that we have, and it just would help us with different things that we're trying to do this first year with equipment and just operating expenses in general. And so anyway, that's what this conversation started out with, and then commissioners for you guys to consider. So if you have questions.
How much are we talking?
Up to 50,000.
Up to 50,000.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned outside Burlington proper. Is that outside? Do you have any outside 244 schools?
We actually do. I think there's 2 that we do. That we do that are not in county residents, but if I remember correctly, their families work over here in Burlington. So they are living outside of the county, but they work here.
Actually live outside of Coffee County?
Yes, yes. And because, again, age ranges, we have different age, a certain number of kids that we can take in a certain age range, certain number of infants, and our infants are full. That's where everybody obviously needed the childcare was infant, the infant age, I'd say birth to 18 months, and those spots filled up quick. We actually could take more older kids right now, and we could take a few more. The waiting list we have right now is we've got 4 infants, or I want to say infants birth to 18 months. So that's kind of, again, everybody needs that childcare, and especially that early age childcare, that infant childcare. So anyway.
What are the rates for for the parents? What is it?
$150 a week.
Per kid, doesn't matter the age range and nothing.
Correct. It does not matter birth to 5. Some places set a premium, if you will, and expect a payment for the fees. If you have that birth to 18 month, they charge more. Some will charge less if the kids are older, because again, for the older group, for example, an older room, our ratios are different. We can have like a 1 to 12 or 2 to 12 ratio or a 2 to 20 ratio for adults to kids, depending upon the ages of the kids. So again, those rooms with the older kids, they actually are better for us to make money because we can have 2 staff members and have, 10, 12, 15, 20 kids in there. The ratios for the infants are at birth to 18 months are like 1 to 4. So that becomes a little bit more challenging, but that's really where it's needed. That's where we've had a lot of babies here recently with a variety of different things happening. So anyway.
The question would probably be more, has other school districts applied for this or?
Well, again, the use of funds is very specific. So if a school were to request funding, especially associated with daycare, yes, we would be able to help with that. If they ask for funding for new books for the kids, no. Or a new facility, no. I can hand you a stack of documents about uses of funding, and it would take you weeks to read through it. Remember, the administrator is really our go-to. When we have those kinds of questions, if somebody came to us and said, let's say another district came to us and said, we want to do this, can we have a grant? I would then go to the administrator with those very precise questions, and they would issue a determination as they did in your case. So yes, it's available for anybody in the county. It has to be mainly a governmental entity or quasi-governmental, but the applicant has to be governmental. But yes, everybody's able to request this money.
Have you received any others?
No, sir. No, sir. I have had discussions with the other, not all the systems, but majority. Yes, sir.
So are you asking for the 50,000 now? One-time shot?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, it seems like that's what, in talking with Bobby, that would be the easiest way to work with that, and then to work with the administrator of the fund side. We can get that information, that report, however it works. If we end up receiving the funds, or if it's a drawdown method, if we submit requisitions, if you will, or however I need to work with, I think the lady's name is Taylor.
Correct.
However I need to, that would be what I would do. I would just work with that administrator, however.
Okay, and then when these funds run out, then are you going to be coming back to the county and asking for more money then?
I would hope, again, my plan is no, because again, the first year, the first year, it's a challenge. And we're doing all right, don't get me wrong, but there are so many things, well, as I've shared with you guys when you guys came to visit at the open house, as well as I think Donna and Jesse had a chance to walk through last Monday. There just were a lot of things. Yeah, 100-year-old building. Anytime, as you understand, whenever you're renovating a building, it's 100 years old. There were things, and fire marshal became very attention to detail, very, very strict with a lot of things, and we had to comply. So again, this will just, like I say, this will just help us out with this first year costs. And as our kids, we have some kids that are transitioning. I mentioned to you about the age range. We have like 3 kids in the next 3 to 4 months. They'll be transitioning from that birth to 18-month room. They'll be moving to a different room, which will then allow us to take those kids that are on the waiting list. They will then come into our infant rooms. Kids, as they transition through the daycare, they become older. And like I told you with the ratios, it becomes a better profit margin for us in that situation. Helps out a lot, the older kids. But again, the ratios just get better for us. So
What do you, sorry.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
What do you anticipate your annual expense is gonna be? I'm sure you've got some projections.
Yeah, somewhere, I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood, and I'd have to go back and draw, or to go back and verify. It's going to be somewhere, again, depends on staffing. The staffing, obviously, is a big expense for us. But we're looking, I want to say, close to about $450,000, $500,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, it's a real number. It's a real number. When you talk about salaries and benefits, and then you've got utilities and so on and so forth. And we've got a number of, we've got other grants that we're looking into every year. The state of Kansas just has come out, Governor Kelly, for child grants and opportunities for different entities in either small centers or large centers to look for that, because that's a key, obviously, to keep, people working, to have childcare, and especially those essential workers like police, fire department, hospital, those people, they need that good daycare. So again, I don't quote me again 100% on that number, but I would have to go back and again, another part of that too is this first year, we anticipate numbers with the budget, but we are, again, first year, you don't know 100% for sure.
Well, I just roughly ran numbers, 48 kids at 150 a week, that's 86,400 a year.
No, that's $150 a week.
Right.
Take that times 48 kids.
Right.
Don't forget there's 4 weeks in a month.
Yes.
And then take that times 12.
That'd be $7,800 a year.
So you're doing 5 days a week or 7 days a week? 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So,
My math.
All right, yeah, that's okay. Hey, there's a lot of numbers, I understand, but if you what our goal is, obviously, in a school situation, and you guys kind of understand, we're in a not-for-profit business, typically we want to break even. When you try to run a business and break even, that can be a challenge too, but again, this is a separate entity from the school district, from USD 244, so it is its own separate business, if you will, and we don't use any general fund money at all, any general fund money for the operation of the daycare. The general fund money goes to K-12 schools.
Since this money for daycare, are private daycares eligible for some of this money?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I know that
Okay.
makes sense, but no, sir.
That answers that. What Mr. Marshall said a while ago, I prefer the pay, require some of it, but not all at one shot. And I don't want you coming in every month having to have a voucher for it, but
Right.
at a certain point, just be in case, because this money is for all the county, just in case the other school districts or someone would need a little bit of it.
Absolutely.
I would rather, but if none of them come in and request it, I would think that Levi Waverly should probably have to, because windmill money. But if they do, I would like to have it available. But if we get up and we use the total 50,000 for them, I'm fine with that too.
Yes, sir.
I'm fine with whatever you as commissioners.
How many of the funds is still available of that first half? And is there a time frame on spending it, or it's gotta be sent back?
Oh, I can answer the second half of the question.
I'm looking it up, hold on. You go ahead and answer that.
Yes, there is a timeline. So now the money, it's sitting on our account for, I don't know the exact time, but, yes, there are timetables for certain portions of this money. It gets rather complicated, but certain portions of the money have to be spent before others, but in this particular segment, yes, there is a timetable.
So the funds we received, is there a specific part of that specifically set up for a project like Craig is visiting with us about?
Yes, sir.
How much is in that part? How much money?
Well, I'm getting into splitting hairs and I'm not comfortable, but I'll just throw a generalization out, about 150.
So there's 150 that can use for this type of project. It can't be used for any other projects that doesn't fit that criteria.
Well,
And there's probably a lot of what is.
right, it's just like your internal budget. You could, even though you pass a budget, you say you're gonna use X for X. You can always come back to the table and say, we're gonna transfer this balance to here, and we could do that. It's just paperwork.
Probably all of the money could go to the daycare, would be cleared to go to the daycare.
Mhm.
But, and like Bobby said, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
More than likely, and probably gonna get a little pushback from the executive people that are doing this. If you spent the whole $1.2 million on a daycare center, they would frown, I'm sure, on that. But it doesn't say anywhere that you can't.
Correct, correct.
So,
You have questions, Jim?
I have concerns. I'd like to see the other school districts.
Bobby and I talked about that last week, and, talked about both Waverly and the FCC, and I have not followed up anything with FCC, whether they are entertaining anything at all for the funds that they'd have available, and the location to do what we're able to do over here is probably not in Leroy, may not be in Waverly, not be in Lebo, and I'm talking out loud, don't know. But the time frame on this being sent back, in order for the other schools to get something in place that would qualify for this, chances are it's not gonna happen quick enough before this money has to be sent back.
When's the date on that?
Instead of me telling you something, I don't know, let's just, I'll find out and I'll get you that.
Bobby could do some more discovery and report back next week too. Because to me, this doesn't have to be done today.
But that's the reason why I don't want to just give it all. I want to give it because if other school districts are eligible for some of this money and request it.
Sure.
Because it all became the county's money, and I would like it, but if they request a certain percentage and then no one request a certain percentage and they end up getting it all, that's fine if no one else needs it.
I would think, even if the commission took the approach, you were gonna give, apples to apples and every district the same, up to the same amount, you could say that. You can say that today.
You that are based on student.
Based on the student.
They know the student might be the fairest way to do it, but that's just talking out
But
loud.
if they don't need it and don't request it, let's use it where it is requested and can be utilized.
Do they know it's available?
That's what I don't know.
Well, we'll make sure.
Tim, you can visit Waverly, Jesse can visit Lebo, and I can talk to Matt.
791.
I would say the other principals probably know, and the superintendents probably.
And I did share with Corey Reese that we do have slots and openings available. And I did share with Russ Milward. If I'm not mistaken, I've shared with Matt Thompson, now the new superintendent at CC. I'll touch base with him again that we do have openings right now. We have a wait list for the younger ages, but we do have openings. So his school community, their school communities will know that we do have openings, and a lot of times, again, that can be just word of mouth advertising, so that helps.
Well, I would say, Tim, I think these superintendents are pretty intelligent people, and I think they keep up on this stuff pretty much, so know what goes on. So I think we're.
Just in case, we will hit them up today.
You currently got 30 students.
Right.
And that's controlled by also the number of staff you got.
Sure.
So if you could add 3 or 4 staff right quick, that number could go to 48.
It could, yes,
Sure.
exactly.
In
theory, if we've got 4 on a wait list right now, it could possibly get to 34. And like I said, the younger kids are not as profitable for us. I hate to put that in terms of money, but you understand.
We understand.
But knowing full well that in the next 3, 4, 5 years, those kids will continue to grow and get older, and when they get older, our ratios increase, and it helps us out with that scenario. So we're gonna have a lot of kids. Again, we're full with our infants. We're gonna have a lot of kids that are gonna be growing up with us in that system. So that's a good thing.
The $150 a week, and say your goal was 50 instead of 48, that's $7,800 times 50, that's $390,000 a year. So if you're maxed out at 50 students, you're still gonna be under.
Yeah,
we're still gonna be under budget.
We have some grants that we continue to look at as far as the renewable type grants that do help us with that. And so, who knows, again, over time, we may end up doing, I may have to increase fees a little bit, $5 a week or something along those lines. We may have to do that. I'm not saying we will. We want to try to keep our fees at that number. But again, we have, like I said, we have that first year business scenario that we're going through, and we're trying to figure out again what all of our expenses are in relationship to running that business. And with our grants that we do have that are renewable grants.
As far as you know, your students' numbers will stay the same during the summer hours?
Yes. When they sign up, they're signing up again for that 12.
They're signing for 12, it's a 12-month
It's
contract.
a 12-month, 5-day-a-week program, yes. Good question.
Rather they're there or not there.
Correct. Yes.
I've heard nothing but good about it. for it, but we need to figure out what scale we can go with. And
Are you gonna, I'm sorry, you're gonna reach out to the other superintendents?
Yes, I sure can.
And I'll touch base with Matt also.
Perfect, yes.
Because Russ retired.
Yes, yeah. Matt and I have had numerous conversations and like I say, we have monthly meetings, we get together. And so I will reach out to them ahead of this monthly meeting that we have coming up in October.
I know several months ago, Russ said you superintendents had had some meetings. And
Sure.
he was looking into the possibility of trying to do something at SEC, but
Yeah.
location and
Right.
space
Mhm.
definitely an issue.
Yes, yes.
There's two other points on it before the commissioners may take action on this. On the disposition of how the funding would flow, if the commission approved this today, would be that, once you get with the administrator, she has to approve those justified requests, whether it's invoices or, but as that money would be seen as, paid through requisitions. That's why I asked for the up to amount, it may be less than that, I don't know, but that's, I think that covers roughly what you kind of told me. The second point I want to make is, I would hope that the commissioners, even though you're trying to be fair with the other districts, I would like to hear any project that another district may have. It may be, they may come and ask for $200,000 for something that really makes sense and not daycare as 244 is. So I would like the commissioners to, even though you approve this today, certainly the other districts are welcome to do this very same thing if they have a daycare expense. But I could think of a few projects that may fit. And I think a discussion with the superintendents would be great. Sit down.
So an after-school program, is that considered, that's not considered daycare?
No, not necessarily. We do have an after-school program that we run at Burlington Elementary School. That's completely grant funded through the 21st, it's called the 21st Century after-school program that, gosh, we've had now, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. It started before I got here, but that is, again, for those parents that work till 5:15, they come pick up their kids for the elementary, that they have different activities, they work on homework, they do art projects, they have physical education, physical fitness type activities they do in the gym, a variety of different after-school type program scenarios. That's completely grant funded through a federal grant.
I think that's closer to 15 years.
It's been a while.
It might be, I say this is my 6th year to be here, and before, so it's very possible it could
Close
be.
to been going for
Right.
a long time.
And we're just so thankful for, again, grants they help us out a lot, because if we ever don't, we just we did this grant renewal for that program for another 5 years. We were a little nervous hoping that we would get it, because if we didn't get it, our community would probably they'd become used to it. They would probably expect us to have that, and we got to figure out how to fund it in the general fund budget, which that's a real number, what we're doing over there. And we've got upwards of 60 to 70 kids every night that are in that program, kindergarten through 4th grade.
I bet the rec center is real glad that you got it refunded too.
They are, and that's another partnership that Scott and I have, so it's a good working relationship with the rec center, and they appreciate it, because if not, that's 60, 70, 80 kids at the rec center that are, they are there, and Scott's staff does not have the supervision, the staff to supervise. So.
Your monthly
Good point.
superintendent meetings, Greg, would Bobby be able to be a speaker at
Of
one of
course,
those
of
meetings
course.
and kind of give because he can do a better update to us
Sure.
than me talking to Matt or.
Sure.
So you'd have no problem inviting Bobby in?
Absolutely not. No, Bobby's welcome anytime. He's a good friend of ours, friend of the community and education too. So yes.
Any other questions, comments, suggestions?
Do we want to pass anything today to get the ball rolling on Craig's side, or do we want to wait for some more?
Don't. We have to have the final say so on what they get and how they get it. Isn't that
Yes, sir, you control the purse strings.
We control the purse string, so my suggestion would be you guys get it figured out and then come back with the numbers and everything right there ready. And then we could go from there and make it official.
I think that's the way I kind of lean, let them do some more discovery. I don't know when your meetings are or how quick Bobby can get back with us with some other, and you may discover nothing, or you may discover some opportunities out there for you. So,
I'm thrilled that, I like that.
do a little more discovery,
Yeah.
because I don't think the funds aren't demanding right.
Oh, no,
To that.
no, absolutely no,
So,
no. And
That
again, it's
that
whatever the
time frame's not
commissioners,
today or next month, but in the near future.
whatever you guys as the commissioners please, that's fine. And we have the county superintendents meet on the same day as the fiber board meets. So they come over for one meeting for the fiber board when Jesse joins us for the fiber board meeting. We meet on the same day right after that meeting, so.
What day is that?
It's coming up here Tuesday, I can't remember which Tuesday, it's like is it a week? It maybe next Tuesday when we have the fiber board meeting. I can't remember specifically the day.
We'll be going
We'll be gone.
to Topeka if it is the 19th. Or
Pull
Kansas
my
City.
calendar up real quick and see if I have that down.
Yeah, well, we can't see.
It might be the 20th, it might be the 26th. It might be the
You know what day
26th.
the fiber board meets?
I can find out from Brad.
Okay, I thought, okay.
And sometimes we have a regular set meeting, but once in a while we have to adjust it based on some schedules. So anyway, but we'll definitely have Bobby to that meeting.
Very good. Anything else? Appreciate. the
Thanks for your
opportunity to visit with
consideration. Thank you.
Appreciate the update from you. So we look
Okay.
forward to what you bring to the table later.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I would like to now ask for the commission to recess into an executive session to discuss possible land acquisition with the superintendent for an amount of time not to exceed 25 minutes.
Say that again, what you just said with superintendent,
Yes, sir. I would like to,
that superintendent.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll move.
To include Wade also,
If Wade's here.
he's here.
Oh, that'd be great.
Correct, Andrew?
He is here.
He's here and he's waiting
But will he? but
he's
will he
waiting for a
come
phone
in?
call in case we need him.
Okay.
Then I'll make a second.
Okay, got a motion by Jesse. I'm just trying to set the clock so we stay on schedule.
I seconded it.
And Tim is second, move into executive session, include the commission, include Superintendent Marshall, Bobby Skipper, and our county attorney, Wade Bowie. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Just going to 10:46.
Need him back.
Sir?
Need him back.
Right.
You want me to get a hold of him
Once you
now?
get hold of Wade.
And how many minutes did you say?
25 minutes, starting at 10:46. we are officially back. Earlier this morning, we tabled a discussion involving Heidi Harris on our zoning recommendation updates. And our county attorney is with us at this time, so I'm not exactly sure what is the right question to start with. Have you had the opportunity to review the proposed updates on those 8 or 10 pages, Wade?
I have, and before, I guess you address those updates, I probably need to request a 10-minute executive session to deal with, county litigation. Myself and the board.
Without Heidi?
That just discuss right now.
Also move.
Second. Okay, got a motion to go into executive session with the commission and County Attorney Wade Bowie. Bobby moved, Jeff is second. Any discussion, question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Let's go in at 11:18.
bother me one bit.
You want to take one of them home?
No, sir.
No?
I'm not sure. I can do this one.
You can put some of that wrong slip and all this good stuff.
Okay, we are back in session.
Vice Chairman, I would like to table this booklet that was handed out from Heidi, zoning regulations, Coffee County. I'd like to table it for 2 weeks until we get Mr. Huguet from that.
Okay. Any other comments or something? Okay. We all agree, either we'll table this, take any action on it for 2 weeks.
Okay, I'll come back in 2 weeks. I do have paperwork from the subdivision regulations that wasn't passed out last time you guys approved. So did you guys sign that document for me before you take off? This is the subdivision only. You guys approved it back in September on the 13th. It just wasn't brought to you guys to sign. So that's what this one is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you, guys.
You have a motion on the floor, you have a second on that?
I'm sorry?
A motion on the floor?
I moved to a table for 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand this being a motion.
I'll second.
Jesse has moved to table the zoning booklet updates for 2 weeks. Tim is second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0, Angie.
Do we take the booklets back? So I can hang on to them?
You can have mine back.
I picked up one the other day, so I've actually got 2 of them here.
You have it.
And there's one there also.
Heidi, can I hang on to mine or?
I'll just remember that you have your stuff.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
You've got a better memory than me.
It's called going and writing it down.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, we are done with our,
We also tabled the health department deal.
yeah, I've got it.
Waiting.
I've got it here, written down to go back to. We are, well, I guess that's part of the,
That's part of our regular.
that's part of the regular meeting. Is the miscellaneous motions that we table. That was part of our regular meeting.
Do you have this information?
I don't have it.
You really like it?
You want it?
I've got it.
Oh, okay.
So my understanding is there are questions.
HR,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Has HR looked at this? Aaron?
The COO, that I don't know. I don't know if it's made it, you're talking about our, HR partners.
Yes.
That I don't know. I know HR partners was in the process of requesting all the, table of organizations. And they just met with department heads last week, so that's Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe. And one of their next steps was to request TOOs and job descriptions. So to see what those say and where things are, where they fall in. Has that request been made to you yet? Okay. So that's the next step, as far as one of the next steps, with HR partners. So I can't answer whether this was sent to them or not.
Those comments I made earlier, you know, we got our health department, you know, has had a little bit of changes in employment. And so to retain somebody for one position, there's a new job description that we haven't signed off on or haven't approved yet. And then we have a new organizational chart, which that process would be creating a new organizational chart. And then the third motion had to do with an individual being hired for that new position, and yet we haven't approved the job description. And looking at our policy, it states that when we have an opening, that if we do it in-house, as is nice to do, to promote in-house, we can. The notice needs to be sent to all department heads, and notification be out to all of our employees, as I understand the policy. And I don't think that was done, although if it has been done, I don't think any of us is aware of it.
So I think the questions that you bring up, we would need to have that department head answer those questions. And the job description and the TOO, I think that just gets brought before the board and then a decision gets made whether that's gonna happen or not. That's happened with the sheriff's department, that's happened with the road and bridge. So if you agree or disagree with the job description change or modification, what that is, what it entails, and then probably the bigger part of any type of change that is requested to be made. The TOO just is a bubble on a piece of paper. The job description is probably the meat and potatoes of what's being changed. Now, it does need to change with the TOO because they sort of operate hand in hand.
This is a transfer.
I'm sorry.
It's my understanding that all she's doing is hire the other person to take the place of the one that was just promoted to the nurses category. That's all we're doing. It's not like we're going out and she's not making a whole new position and everything else. I don't know. Let's just bring her in and ask her. Did you get Lindsay, please?
I've stopped by and she just stepped out.
Maybe she stepped back. To me, that's the understanding of it. That's all it is, just transferring.
In her office.
In her office.
In her office.
Yeah.
It sounds like part of the responsibility might be taking some of the responsibility that Carl was doing at that time, but I don't.
Right, I mean, so it's not out of her office. It's out of emergency management. So basically, it is a new hire to the health department.
So Renee, she's been helping for all the COVID.
Andrew, you mind speaking up? I can't
She
hear.
had also been helping with the COVID things from what I understand. So she was working part-time in there.
I know she was in there making some calls. To what extent, I don't know. There's a couple times I was sitting there during the week, Chelsea went by, and she stopped and talked. You know, the following policy manual, and when an opening comes up, we've had that happen more times than one, that someone moved into that position without notification being sent out to all employees.
So I think before assumptions are made, I think we need to figure out what that process was, because I think that's the fair way to do it.
I want to be fair about it, there's no question on that.
So, by suggesting certain things weren't done, that we're assuming that they weren't done, and I think we need to know what that process was, in all fairness, so.
This come in late Friday, did it not?
That one, yeah, all of that came in on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And Lindsay did step out. It's gonna be a little bit before she's back.
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 agendas. This is the 3rd agenda notice that came out, but we didn't get it for Friday.
So
I came up Sunday morning, spent about an hour trying to review the information that we currently have.
So you can, I think, legitimately have the conversation about the job description and the TOO. And if you have issues with it, then you can deal with that in a few minutes, but that seems to be pretty self-explanatory.
I'm not sure in reading the job description over, without Lindsay explaining some of it, I'm not sure I've got any issue with it. Other than it's not adopted, a new person's been employed before.
Well, I can read the job description, and since I'm not in the health department, none of that, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me anyway. I'm putting my confidence in that Lindsay knows what's going
I
on.
understand that, Bob. You gotta depend on the department heads to, write this job description, but it also has to be accepted. My understanding, it's gotta be accepted and approved by us.
But how are you gonna know whether it's right or not?
You won't know until, you won't know for a period of time. And I think she's consolidated probably a couple areas. I guess my question is, how do you hire somebody when you don't have a job description fully approved or even talked about yet?
I think that's what she's asking us to do, to approve the job description.
Well, while we're waiting on that particular issue, maybe we can move on and take up
Move on the round table.
round table. And then at that point, then, once she's back, we can take up the questions for her.
Do you have anything for round table weight?
The only thing that I have, and I'll probably do this each week, is the update on the capacity of the Coffee County Jail. So there are 18 total inmates as of the list I got this morning. We have 7 off-site, 3 in different counties and 1 in another type of facility. And eight, 9, 10, 11, at least 11 to 13 that are out of county, which means they reside out of county, and of those, seven, 8, at least 8 of those don't even live in the state of Kansas. So I think that's a worthy update for each week, because I think you need to know the type. We're not just dealing with local Coffee County residents. There is an immense amount of traffic on I-35 and Highway 75 that passes through the county, and any enforcement actions, it just depends on what it is, how that traffic stop transpires, or some other sort of action.
So 18 in our jail right now is all that our county has apprehended?
There's 18 total.
18 total bed, but 18 total inmates, okay.
So, and there are some in Elk County, Chase County, and Lyon County.
Okay.
So 6 of them are spread out between Elk, Chase, and Lyon. Now that doesn't include, I know there's several that have companion charges in other counties that the other counties takes priority, but I'm also dealing with those cases at the same time simultaneously. So they don't even show up on those lists because they have local charges they're being held on. We're just dealing with them simultaneously or at the same time. Did that answer your question?
See, I think last week the report was that it's 3 male and 4 female housed outside of our county. And I think that's probably some of the issue. You know, we can't house, because of our Dale structure, can't have that many men and women and the way our facility is constructed.
Well, and I
The
will
way
tell
it's
you,
built.
from week to week, there is a push to get people who are incarcerated at the time, let's say on a Monday morning, out of the Coffee County Jail or out of another facility by resolving the case or by requesting court to modify the bond. That happens on a regular basis. So I can tell you with reasonable certainty that some of the people who are in the jail on the list today are additional or new from last week, and that's just the way it works. And that goes from week to week. Those numbers are going to be different. Now, there are some that have been in custody for longer periods of time, and that's based on what their bond is set at, what the type of offense is, those types of things. But everybody who is incarcerated has a bond set at some level. The bond is either at a low end, say, for example, driving while suspended. Do those people need to sit in custody for not having a driver's license? Probably not. So we work towards getting those people out after they come in. A lot of times they end up in jail on a driving while suspended because they have failed to appear to court either once or multiple times. Law enforcement does a good job of issuing citations, which means a piece of paper with a promise to appear at a future court date. If they don't appear, then the procedure that the court follows right now, in order to appear, is issued for their appearance at a future date. If they don't show up at that date, then I will request a warrant, because eventually they have to take care of that particular issue. Now, if it's a high level offense, which, we'll use it, murder as an example, the bond is going to be set a lot higher, and additional considerations put in place, potentially a GPS tether. They can't leave the state, all those things, because that's different than driving while suspended. So when you look at people who are in jail and their bond levels and what their bond is set at by the court, you have to take into consideration all of those factors. So try to do a weekly update. I think it's helpful. Some weeks those levels may go down, or they may go up.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thanks for the update. Wade, anything else you need to bring forward the commission?
Nope, not for today.
Angie, you have anything? Tim, you have anything?
No. Yay.
Not today, but next week. Jesse, you have anything?
No, happy Columbus Day. That's it.
Bob, you have anything?
Yeah, I do. I was in the health department earlier this morning, a little project that they did around the ceiling. The basement didn't work. They have a lot of wet boxes down there. The walls are bubbling. So whoever we need to get them back here and show them to it while it's in that situation and take care of it. And I apologize, I didn't get a hold of you earlier, but I just got it just before I came in here, and I said I'd bring it up at round table, so you know it, Andrew.
Okay.
We probably need to get them back.
So what we thought was an irrigation leak and is not irrigation leak.
Evidently not. Whatever it is, it's not. It's something different or whatever.
Wasn't we gonna have somebody come in and pull some landscape, raising or lowering some?
Well, Burnham Basement is supposed to come back because it was their work that's under warranty for them to come back. And unfortunately, they've got such a time due to their own staff shortages before they're gonna come back and take a look and pull some things to see if it is their work that was causing the problem. But then the sprinkler was Scheller's Landscaping, who pulled all that back and said, yeah, that whole time that sprinkler, which they just repaired, so
Right.
if that wasn't it.
So obviously that was, I mean, I know with all the, the lay of the ground up the side and the sidewalk and everything, the water is running into
Right.
the basement walls. And it needs to be, we need to have landscaper come in and slope away from the building towards the sidewalk to get that water away from here, or we're gonna continue having that problem.
This is, yeah, and this was all, it
On
wasn't
that
just from
corner.
one side, it was, basically from, walk in the door and that whole east side, and then the north side is leaking also.
Did it fix any part of it, get fixed correctly? Or is it just a health department office?
That's where it was leaking, helped.
That's where 100% it was at that time.
I have no idea what they did, evidently they didn't do much.
Yeah, and Vernon still didn't have a time because like they were dealing with some health issues, so they said that they were a few months out and they still don't have a time frame, and that was what was supposed to be done first, since if it is their problem, that's under warranty. And to kind of start from there, but if they still don't have a time frame to come back out and look at their warranty work, do you want to go a different way then?
I would make sure that somebody takes pictures of what we got this morning because of the heavy rains last night. It's 100% runoff. I think we're gonna have to get a landscaper in here and maybe even pull the sidewalks up and slope away from the courthouse, because it is just the sidewalk on the east side towards the building that's coming towards the building. And we looked at the north side, 4 or 5 months ago, and there were spots that it was coming back towards the building. Just need to get the grade set to get it away from the building.
We can build, I don't know where they have put strings in there or not. I don't know what they have, but it needs to be taken care of, so.
We're gonna lose our foundation.
Is there any drainage down on the footing of the foundation, or does anybody know? That's what happened in our house here.
There is
Several months ago,
Drain down there.
we had rain went down, so we dug out about 25 foot, filled it all through a clean shaft.
What if that
I just
drain
wanted
been ran snaked?
I'm not that I know, but I know we did bring in some dirt a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and tried to get it to slope out, but we might.
But, it needs reworked.
I think we're gonna have to cut. I think we're gonna have to cut from the building to the street, and you're gonna have to pull the sidewalks. You're gonna have to pull the whole sidewalk. You're gonna have to cut it, and then your gutter on your street's not gonna line up correctly either, unless you cut between the building and the sidewalk, and use the sidewalk as your trough to get it to the street. That's another option also.
Is there any way to get the blueprints to see if there was any drainage that's laying down on the footing?
Yeah, there is.
There is?
Yeah.
So maybe even dig out 2 foot wide for the whole thing, recoat the basement wall and fill it all up with chat so that water's got a chance to get through the drainage.
Well, we did a waterproofing around the walls too, back years ago. Maybe that needs to be redone, I don't know.
A lot
I
of
know we
stuff's
fixed
been
our
done.
problem when we put chat all the way down to the drain. It's totally eliminated the issues.
And you
There's
just
a-
need to get someone in to take a look at it, that knows what's going on.
Yeah, water,
It's
yeah.
probably in the
And
back, you know.
You need to have Lindsay take, you need to go down and take photos in Lindsay's office of what's happening there today. Years ago.
I think I saw her just walk by, but she just walked back. That's where we.
Yeah, that's gonna continue.
But they had boxes sitting there on the floor and stuff, they're sopping wet, and behind the other one desk, you could see where the paint
paint
was
was
bubbling up and started, hadn't broke yet, but it was filling up with water.
You got anything else you need to bring up, Bob?
I think that's it.
KAC meeting coming up next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Andrew sent out a dinner invitation for ERGON.
Right, that
You
came
need to
from.
respond to that. The 3 of us want to go to that dinner that night. Normally, when they have a KC meeting, we normally end up with a special dinner someplace. This is an asphalt company, and we use this asphalt company for our
What's the name of it?
ERGON.
Wayne said they have been previously used, not for the most recent project, but they have been used for previous.
I was thinking we've used them before, but I couldn't remember for sure. It don't make it nervous to me. We normally go to dinner or two. I guess you could go ahead and tell them there'd be some there.
Isn't that a kind of a conflict of interest?
With, I have no idea whether it would be or not. That'd be a Wayne
Yeah,
question.
kind of a way it is. but-
And around about, bring all the commissioners in, we're gonna feed you nice juicy steaks.
That's exactly right.
I think I'll pass.
I think I will too.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Pass, we don't have to worry about any conflict,
Exactly.
okay?
Okay.
Appointed boards, I looked at that yesterday when I was here. We've got 8 appointed board members that need to be updated. We've got that in the front of our book. There's, or near the front, there's 2 tourism and 1 housing, 3 hospital board, and 2 fire board that we need to reappoint it or have new people in place. So a new appointee, like on the tourism board, Bobby, you're currently on that?
Yes, sir.
You want to continue on that then?
Yes, sir.
So that would take care of that one there on the tourism. The other's Melissa Daly. Those are 2-year terms. On the housing, we got Bill Parker. In fact, that one comes due October 26th. I overlooked that date. It's October 26th. I don't know Bill Parker. And the hospital board, which is, you know, the importance, and all these board members are important. The hospital board may be the most important one on there but we got 3 candidates that their board seat is up on the 12/31 this year. Jeff Clark, Jim Dale, and Peter Algier, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. In the fire district, we got Daniel Burke and Johnny Ray Jr., so we probably need to make sure we get those positions reappointed. I'd overlooked that one that was in October when it was due. Andrew, do you have anything?
No, just put the longevity sheet in front of everybody.
Okay,
There were a couple of things that were different than the ones that I had printed off for the budget, since I think my calculation was off, so I just wanted to make sure that everyone had seen the longevity, so that I can have you sign off on that.
everybody look at the longevity pay sheet that was laying at our desk when we started.
I can give you a copy to sign. She even had these things.
Okay, you have anything else?
Nope, that was it for me.
Bobby, you,
I have
just
one
get ready.
update.
Bobby, you
Sorry.
stop back in. What else do you have? You need to bring forward the commission.
I want to update you on a project, the Union gas station. We have received the phase 2 environmental bag, and there was contamination found, but it was light contamination, and they gave us specific depths of where it is and what it looks like. Right now, the state is considering allowing us to over excavate, so we don't have to go through the whole process of formal remediation of that contamination. And got Wade involved, and so that he's kept up to speed also, so that we come back and recommend here very shortly executing the purchase on the property and getting it started, getting that thing to come down. So we'll keep you up to date.
Okay. Any other discussion with Bobby while he's there?
You know, I just want to mention
Thanks, Bobby.
on the housing authority, Greg Stice was appointed from the 1st district, Greg Budding, 4th district. Mike Skillman was actually appointed from the 3rd district. even though he lives in the 5th district. Bill Parker was actually appointed from the 1st district, even though he lives in the 5th district, and Aaron Copeland was appointed to the 2nd district, which he was actually, should have been the 5th district.
Eric
So,
Copeland,
yes,
he's in 2 districts.
he was appointed to replace a guy from the 5th district,
Okay.
the original person from the 5th district. So these have kind of been messed up because people appoint people from other districts to fill another district somewhere else, but it doesn't matter. But I think we need to be looking for somebody from the 3rd district, because we've never, as far as I know, since I've been here, we've never had a representative from the 3rd district other than somebody who was already in the 5th district. So if Jesse wants to find someone, I'm all willing to give him some time to try to find someone from up in that area to represent that district. At one time, we had 3 people from the 5th district on here. Of course, they were spread out,
How often do they meet?
I think once a month.
Meets the 2nd Tuesday, and
I think they need to be in there.
It'd be nice to have them all in the same right district.
Actually, the Mike Skellman and Bill Parker from the 5th district both live within a couple miles of each other. And one of them came in and representing the 3rd district, and one came in representing the 1st district. But they were, yeah. And I made this comment every year is, it'd be nice to get some people from where they're at and spread them around the county instead of loading them up just because of the good old boys.
that's like hospital board, there's 4 from District 5,
Yes, there is.
and they're all set through 22 and 23.
But
Even though they represent districts, that's just like we are here, even though they represent district, they absolutely represent the county.
and that's true. Nobody questions
And
that.
I understand where you're coming from, Bob.
But one thing you might want to notice on the hospital board too is you have Rosemary, who's clear up in that corner of the county. And you have Judy, who's clear in that corner of the county.
Yeah.
Also, and then you have Steve, who is right in the middle of my district.
Yeah, see, I don't know
So
whether-
it's not like that. But the housing authority gets 2 people from the same, within a couple miles of each other. And the fire district, you might know, the fire district has to be designated from districts. It's the only position that has to be district designated. You can only have one person who is not from that district fill in, and that's right now is Gary Trosso, who is from 5, should be representing District 2, that lives in District 5, and he was appointed. So,
Yeah, he's always been in 5. Although he's only 4 miles from Leroy. Because the District 5 comes within near the city limits on the west side. But any comments or suggestions?
I'll see if I can find somebody up in District 3. So, see what we can come up with.
Okay, I think that does finish around there. We're going to see Wade's back and Lindsay.
So my suggestion is this. Because you're dealing with, and one of the issues that's before the board right now, an employee, I think the most prudent course of action to discuss that particular issue is to go into executive session for non-elected personnel and the application and hiring process. But that can be 10 or 15 minutes, myself, the board, and Lindsay. The other 2 topics, the table of organization and the job description, I think that can be explained in an open session afterwards. Because I think Lindsay will be able to answer your questions, why that job description was modified, what the intended purpose of that, and why that position is important for her department moving forward. And I think you should do that in a way where it makes sense. That.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think those 2 could be discussed. And I don't know all the rules and everything.
Can we take this with us? The part that we're discussing?
That's the only one.
I move to going to executive session with the board, county attorney, or county counselor, and health nurse for 15 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel with all the numbers, or is that right? But I don't know what the number is.
B1. B1.
B1.
Right. Second.
Okay, Bob has moved, and you said 15 minutes?
15 minutes, that should be long enough.
I think it would be.
I was gonna say 10, so.
Okay, 10 probably would, but
Okay.
Let's go 15.
15. For discussions on elected personnel, including
Non-elected.
non-elected, including Wade and Lindsay for health department. Jesse, you second? Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. It's going to 12:09. We are officially back, Lindsay.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you kind of some history and background on where these positions are coming from. So the local theft position, as we've discussed before, was performed in our office until this February, when that person left and got promoted to a different space in the county. And at that time, it was a local public health emergency preparedness, in addition to a regional public health emergency preparedness, so covered for 7 other counties as well. So it was 40% local, 10% emergency management for exercise guidelines and protocols, and then 50% regional theft. So when he left that position, that he took a lot of knowledge and experience and expertise with him. So the region, we did have Lyon County speak up, and they were interested in taking the regional part of that. So they took that piece with them. They have someone who has similar to what we had experience in the program. And so they took the regional piece away, and they kept it. And so we no longer are doing the regional prep out of Coffee County anymore. It went back to Lyon. So that left us with a part-time local that vacancy in our office. Not at the time, wasn't really sure if who could do that for us. Is it something we could do within? Is it something I could do, add to my responsibilities? Since that vacancy, I have been attempting to perform the duties, depending on what our COVID surge is like. So that's, any questions about the theft part? No? Okay.
Any questions?
It entails reviewing our plans, updating our plans, exercising our plans, meeting work plan requirements from KDHE. So it's pretty black and white what they expect from us to need from us every quarter, every year. Then the public health nurse assistant was a newly developed position last year. We hired for that in September of was to assist with COVID, and then to also fill a vacancy we had for prescription drug program assistance and Medicare D assistance. So that's when we hired someone in for that, and that person has recently transferred over to be a nurse for us. So that is a vacant open position. It was a full-time position. At this time, we don't know. We're still in an evaluation phase of whether or not the Medicare D piece is needed or not to be done by the county health department. We've reached out to, I've been talking about that I think several times over the last few weeks. We've reached out to some partners. It can be done in county by at least 4 other individuals or 4 other entities. So we don't know if it's a need. We need to make sure that it's being completed by people who have an impartial suggestion. So if a pharmacy is doing it, are they looking at all pharmacies? Or if an insurance agent is doing it, are they looking at all insurance plans and not just perhaps one that makes sense? So we want to make sure that it's an impartial judgment. And then if the area agency on aging is able to do it, which is what's going to happen this year, do they have the capacity to meet our full need? So a lot of evaluation needed there. So if that piece is not included in this position for the public health nurse assistant, a lot of time would be alleviated during certain times of the year. But there is still a need for us to have assistance with disease investigation. And there's still a need for nurses to have assistance with documentation. We do a lot of screenings that need inputted into a computer system. We need help with that. We need help overall in arranging our clinics, which is that would be part of this position. So again, we have about a half-time position and we have a half-time position for a public health nurse assistant available, and then we have a half-time for a local vet available. So it's either keeping those separate job descriptions. I think right now we have an opportunity to fulfill it by one person who's skilled in both sides of that. Will we always have that ability? I don't know. So that's why it came to you as combined. Yes, there were vacancies. They were combined because the opportunity presents itself.
Do you think that maybe a little more thinking on this to see if the person wants to combine these 2 positions or keep them separate would be a benefit instead of combining it and then having to change it later on down the road? Maybe think on it.
Maybe just separate them now, and then, but with the full intent being, it could very well easily be done by one person at this time.
Right. But like you said, you might not have that option later down the road. Something happens and the individual leaves, then you're gonna have to split it out again.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
2 different positions.
2 different
but they could be filled by the
positions.
same person.
Right, and I'm all for filling both positions with one person, but to do away with a position and then have to maybe break it back out later on, it's a lot easier to leave it the way it is and fill it with one person doing both positions.
Yeah.
But
It sounds like you got a qualified person to handle both
Right.
sides.
right,
And
but
that's a plus. That's a plus for everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean,
It might
it's
be better
easier.
just keep both job descriptions in play.
It's easier to keep both job descriptions as they are now and move this person into both, or and that's that's whatever your thinking is. That's my thinking, but you wanted to put them all in as one, and maybe we ought to.
Is there benefit to putting it under one description for you?
Is there a benefit? Less paperwork.
Technically, it probably would be a benefit. Probably would. You just have to make the job description fit both sides of it, that's what's been done.
Yeah, that's what she's done.
That's what we're doing. I'm not too sure Jesse is maybe hit the nail on the head. Keep separate job descriptions. Sounds like the right candidates in place.
Can we sleep on this a week? Can we sleep on this a week?
We can. I'd like to give the other office ample opportunity to get some advertising
Yeah.
going. So, that's my only hesitation.
Well, I don't think there's any rebuttal on the individual or them transferring. I think it's mainly the description or the position, both positions going to one, that maybe we should table until next Monday. I know we're gonna have a short day, or we ain't gonna have a short day, but I know we're trying to have a short day next Monday, so we can get to the meeting in Kansas City.
Normally, we don't leave till then, plus that going KC. I haven't seen their schedule. Most of the time, KC meeting starts in the morning at 10 or so. We miss the first couple of hours of it, maybe even 3 or 4.
I mean, I just don't wanna hold her.
I don't want to either. That's not my
I
goal.
appreciate that.
Absolutely my goal, is to try to make the most positive decision now for what's at hand.
And I think abolishing a position is tying our hands behind the back at this point in time. And putting it all into one.
Means you have 2 positions on your
Yeah,
organization.
Which that's what you currently have.
correct. Well,
That's
it would,
The
that's
old,
the new
the
one.
old.
It's combined,
The old one.
the old.
Okay, I can definitely live with that and I'll get it.
You kind of got an
Changed
idea
like
where we're
that,
going, so
Absolutely.
in my opinion, got an idea where we're going.
Right.
You can pass that on to.
Can I have one clarification? And maybe this involves weight, I'm not sure, but about, are all of our job descriptions that have been redone by the, study, are they all to be reapproved? And what process do we do that with? Because this is a new format and new language in them, and I don't know that kind of came up Friday when I was speaking with Andrea about this, about getting job descriptions approved.
But isn't HR being part of that? And they will work with us and then we'll make final approval. And
Did
that's
you meet
what,
with HR partners?
Yes, I did.
You did.
Yeah, we did not discuss this. So I just didn't know.
I think HR partners, all they're doing is looking at the things that we have in place at the present time and trying to take care of some of the things that need taken care of.
And
have you redone all your job descriptions?
it's not me.
Okay,
Lisa did with the,
I'm sorry.
Lisa did with the study. They've all been, like, my understanding is the whole county, they've all been redone.
They've been redone, but you guys haven't approved any.
We haven't seen them yet.
So do we each need to bring them to you individually as departments, or do we do that all collectively the same day? How do you want to
Well,
go?
that may be a weight question. At what point in time do we address, each department, or we address the whole 150, not 5 together?
I don't know. It just kind of was
We
brought
can
up
put
Friday.
that
We didn't
on,
really know.
table that till next week and check with Wade if everybody agrees with it. Although next week,
Yeah.
I hope our meeting doesn't get last till 2 or 3 o'clock. If it does, our responsibility is here.
Not bad.
Yeah, or we make a goal by the beginning of the year, we start 2022 with an accurate job description. It's a lofty goal for 6 or 8 weeks of reviewing 150 of them.
And once we move on them, Lindsay, may not put them technically in effect until January 1st.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just something that did come up. So, as we began this process. Anyway,
Any other questions or comments or suggestions for Lindsay? If not,
We'll get you an answer.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
thank you for bringing us an update. Lindsay.
Yep, thank you.
Do we need to make a motion to table this till next week?
We already had it tabled,
Okay.
so.
I think we moved on that earlier.
Okay.
A lot of times we just
Well, I knew we were
table
gonna,
and then come back.
we were gonna table it and go to round table.
We made a motion.
Okay.
We made a motion early on to table it. We didn't make a motion to how long.
Just a motion to table it.
Table, stop it.
So to me, it's probably tabled until next meeting.
Stops it.
Or whenever we bring it up.
I was only intending on stopping it until round table, so Wade could get here to help us through the situation.
Anybody else have anything coming up to roundtable?
Yeah, I got one thing. I'd like to wish Andrea a happy birthday.
I'll second that.
And Jesse said he's gonna sing to you.
He's actually, he's wrong.
Happy birthday, Andrew.
Thank you.
We didn't know about that until we just got out of the meeting.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yes, they had it all decorated in there.
Yeah. There wasn't any black balloons, so it's good.
I know, right? It's over the hill.
We better change the subject.
Yeah.
Say something we shouldn't be saying that. Anything else needs to come forward, Commission? If not, we'll adjourn 12:38, Angela.
Have a good week. Andrea, have a good week.
Oh, thank you, too.
I'll let you shut that.
Yeah.